host for the Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this Friday evening? Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Tonight, we're going to have on our live stream, the subjects are going to be the Elon Musk departure, which I talked about it a couple days ago, that he got his eyes open, but I didn't realize he was departing. I mean, I didn't hear nothing like that. I guess I must have guessed it. And then we're going to talk about a video I watched today on how the rest of the world sees us in the danger that the average American is in because of this, because of the way we're perceived in the world these days. Anyway, so if you're watching the replay and you want to jump ahead a little bit, go to about 3 minutes, and I'll start talking about that. But Elon Musk and the rest of the subject tonight, but it's going to be an interesting show, so I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, for the rest of it, I got about a minute to spare real quick. I just want to talk about something. This is like a little bonus for people on the replay. Jacqueline Crockett, you know, that big mouth congresswoman from Texas, the ghetto queen. Well, anyway, she's all worried about being targeted and surveilled and all this other stuff. Really? Welcome to America. You feel you did nothing wrong, right? And you're afraid they're going to come and arrest you, right? Well, I guess you probably don't have to worry about 6 a.m. raid by the FBI or ATF that are going to shoot you down at 6 a.m. You probably don't have to worry about that, though, do you? Just the American people had to worry about that when your Democratic president was in office. Yeah, remember all those people that were getting shot down at 6 a.m. no-knock raids? Well, now we got a congresswoman that's even afraid to be looked at wrong by the FBI. But crazy world we live in. Anyway, we'll give it about 30 more seconds. Wait for some people to show up. I appreciate you all being here. I see some people are finally showing up. YouTube must have got the notifications on. Hi, how's it going? Gag Van Durham. I need to get a stronger prescription on my glasses. I need to start doing this on my computer where I got it, you know. But anyway, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate one thing, YouTube's really slamming down hard on conservative channels, and my channel's the same. So I want to try to get 100 more subscribers today on this live stream. So please like the video, subscribe, and hit that share and hit that notification bell for all of them. Let's spread the word. But anyway, I'm going to try to get 100 more subscribers just on this live stream tonight. So we'll see how it goes. See how long I got to talk for that. But let's get with the subject, okay? Elon Musk, okay, departure from Doge. This is the thing, okay? He went in there to do a job to help the American taxpayer, the average American. Yeah, he's the richest man in the world, but, you know, I'm sure he just probably wants to be a common person just like us. You know, he's probably sick of standing out, a nerdy guy. But anyway, he was fighting for the average American taxpayer when he went to Doge, save us money. Okay, and then he found out, finding all this spending, this ridiculous spending, and just in Social Security alone. I mean, all this fraudulent money that was going out, where people should have been brought to. He's given the FBI, the Attorney General, the President, all this information on this fraudulent stuff. Heck, the President was given a speech that what did he say, that one person that's supposedly 300 years old is receiving Social Security? Well, where's the fraud in that? Nobody arrested. I mean, Elon Musk figured out that, hey, when you fight for the average man, eventually you get treated like the average tax-paying citizen. You get ignored. Try to do something good. Another thing, you save the government $1 trillion, you'll just sit there and spend $2 trillion because they know they got a bunch of people working that'll help pay for it, and they can just turn on the printing presses. Crazy time. But, I think Elon Musk, I always say he was, for once he was fitting in. He belonged to the group instead of walking into the room. I'm sure, like I say, before he walked in a lot of rooms, he would look into them and see people, just average people mingling and stuff, wishing he could be like that instead of always standing out, being the center of attention and, always be looked at as how much money you have instead of who you are. But, the man proves to me more and more that, I appreciate everybody subbing. More and more that he's just an average guy who was really smart and made a lot of money with it, okay? And now he just can't help but make money all the time. So maybe he just wanted to help out the average person he was paying their salary to. Maybe he cared, maybe he's doing it for his employees or just guys like me, whatever, but he got shut up. I mean, something that the average guy or the housewife sitting at the kitchen table trying to do the budget understands, okay? You can't spend money you don't have. It doesn't work that way. But, Elon Musk is definitely a businessman. He realizes if he don't have money, he can't run his businesses. Anyway, I think he was really going to bat for the average tax-paying citizen in this country. Really trying to make some change, And he got shot down. Like I say, nobody was arrested for the fraud, nothing like that. Okay, and it's here with the Republicans. You think there isn't going to be fraud? I mean, I haven't heard nothing about the fraud that he found was stopped. Anybody hear anything about that? Yeah, we hear all these people are drawing Social Security that shouldn't draw Social Security. So have they stopped drawing Social Security? Like I say, your government saves it. If you save the government $1, they're going to spend $2. I always say, you pay an extra employee, a good employee, an extra $1, they'll pay you back with $2. Well, the government, you sit there and save them $1, they'll spend $2. So you never get to save. I mean, if our government was financially in the right mind or stable or like the average family, would we be $37 trillion in debt? Anyway, like I say, Elon Musk, I think he got his eyes open. Anyway, I appreciate people. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers on tonight's live stream. If you could like and subscribe, hit that thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and go to my shorts and share them. You'll like them. YouTube doesn't really like them all that much, but they're catching on more and more. But I appreciate everybody being here this evening. All right, that's a spiel on same with Musk. Yep. He understands. I don't know. The guy's the richest guy in the world, but it could still be want to be as common as you and I. I mean, it's somebody who's common like you and I, and we end up winning the lottery one day of $1 billion. Should we be shunned by all our friends? I mean, it's just, you're still the same. I know he went to bat for the average American taxpayer. And he got shut down, just like we do. He found all this money they were wasting. Why didn't taxes go down? Okay? Anyway, it's just crazy, okay? But, Elon Musk has definitely figured out where richest drug addict. I don't know, I guess I'd hate to be somebody who's so famous that it just, I don't know what the guy does. But whatever he does, he makes it work. If he's the richest drug addict, then he's the only rich drug addict. Okay? What Richard Pryor said? You don't have a drug problem till you're broke. I got $10,000 now. I ain't got a drug problem yet. So whatever. Oh, I'm sure he's partied before in his life, but that doesn't mean he's doing it now. You know, this is the thing. The older you get, except if you're a politician, I think, you start outgrowing your bad habits, your old habits. You mean just, you don't have time for them no more, or the energy, or whatever the case may be. But whatever he's doing works. It employs a lot of people, pays a lot of taxes. And he just wants to help the American people out, tax-paying citizen out. If he does drugs, I don't know. I know a lot of dopers, man, and he don't act like them. For one thing, he don't look like them. I mean, everybody's seen a skeleton drugged out person before, okay? Anyway, let's get on to the second subject, okay, of tonight. How the world looks at the United States, how they see us through the lens of their eyes, and the danger that this country could be in because of it. And before I get into it, like I said, I'm trying to get 100 subscribers on tonight's live stream. If you would like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and go to my shorts and share some of them shorts out. Anyway, they'll ask you, what the hell are you watching? Anyway, but this is about entertainment too, right? YouTube's about entertainment. We got to entertain. So let's get on the subject about how the world sees us. Now, when I was in the Marine Corps back in the mid and late 80s, and I traveled the world and stuff on ships, bro, I can watch this Oval Office video today. He was rolling in, I can't read that. I'm sorry. Anyway, getting back to the subject, okay? I'm sure everybody knows Canadian Prepper, and he started up in his new channel, or his alternate channel where he talks about World War III stuff. And the video I believe he had on there yesterday, where he had that Iranian professor on there, and what he was saying, it makes so much sense to me, because like I say, when I was in the Marine Corps and I was traveling the world, especially in that part of the world, I saw the hate. They hated us. I didn't even feel safe walking the streets back then there, except in Israel. But, these people, this Iranian professor was talking about how we're not the threat to the world no more. We're not trusted no more. We're not seen as the world power anymore like we see ourselves, okay? First thing they brought up was, their past with the Shah. Us putting the Shah in. I know that's going way back in time, but the Shah was not good to his people. He exploited the people. America was just butting their nose in where they should have been, okay? And we support the Shah. We had a little puppet government, okay? And he was not good to his people. The Iranians are a proud people too. And he was mean to the younger generation because they wouldn't bend. Okay? And this is the thing. Everybody say, well, the extremists took over. Well, what do you think a tyrant creates? Extremism. So then, they hate America. We give the Shaw exile. They take over the American embassy, and other countries are allowed to hate us. Okay, that's okay. I mean, if we're allowed to sit there and dog other countries are allowed to dog us. Just like people. He's dogging me, I dog you, whatever. That's the way the world works. But bringing up this, from an Iranian point of view, and somebody who talks about, he talks about in Iran being a school teacher. When a school teacher walks into the room, all the students stand up, giving them respect, knowing that, the education they have, the things they have in their head is important. They're respected. And now I remember going to school, we were definitely a lot more respectful to our teachers. We were taught to sit down when the teacher comes in the room. That was respectful. But he was talking about that. But when he started talking about how the world looks at the U.S. now, he's like, why should Iran cut a deal with the U.S.? The U.S. doesn't honor none of its treaties. And I would say if you were a Native American Indian back in the 1800s, you'd probably agree with that statement. Right? How many agreements did we make with the Indians, our government make with the Indians that they kept? None of them. At all. So our government's got a history of that. A long history of that. To be, what's that word I'm looking for? Deceiving, that's not the word I'm looking for, but they just, people don't trust us no more. Other countries can see that we're so far in debt, we're never going to come out of it. Everybody can see that people are standing up to the big guy. The United States, we even got the Houthis. They're in, I can't even remember, down there on the peninsula. Somebody help me out, the Houthis. But anyway, a little bit of nobody, and we can't even take them out. We couldn't even beat guys in Toyota pickup trucks in Afghanistan with our great military. Do you think our military could fight a war like we did in World War II on two fronts? That's the thing, too. When we fought World War II, 85% of our supplies for the war went to Europe until that war was over. Only 15% went to the Pacific. Crazy, huh? And now we probably would be fighting, a 3 or 4 front war with no manufacturing and nobody that's going to work in the factories to produce our arms? What's China going to produce our arms for us when we're fighting China? It's crazy time. It's crazy time. But to hear that, and they're not afraid to say it. And the thing is, the United States, if Russia don't do its thing, it's going to put more sanctions on Russia. I see we got a few people here. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you like to comment, hit that notification bell. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers on this live stream, get my channel built up. And go to my shorts and check out my shorts and share my shorts. But anyway, other countries aren't scared of us no more. And we're talking about, we're going to put sanctions on Russia again. Russia doesn't care. They got the BRICS system with other countries that are just basically begging to get into the BRICS system because they don't want to be under the United States thumb with the dollar anymore. And they want a currency backed up by gold or something besides, Americans thinking, the world thinking that the dollar's worth something. The good credit of the Americans, okay? We don't have any credit anymore. So, the rest of the world is seeing us as weak. Like that short I made back when JoJo was going to give his last State of the Union address. And I said, the State of the Union is what, or no, that was, yeah, it would have been that one. And I said, the State of the Union is what JoJo sees in the mirror every day, weak and impotent. And that's the way the rest of the world sees us. Now, when the king of the hill, is weak, and everybody that's surrounding them, that hill can see that they're weak and they're ready to go down. Okay, like the short I made. I hope everybody's ready to tumble down the hill like Jack and Jill when this country tumbles. I mean, people think they're in financial straits now. This one thing about Americans, a lot of them have never seen third world countries except in pictures or videos, okay? That's not seeing a third world country. That's not seeing the waiters in the restaurant walk around barefoot on dirt floors in restaurants. That ain't showing that, or actually seeing the starving kids with your eyes. Starving people, not just starving kids. Where you see whether you're either rich or you're poor. Yeah, we should go back to the mighty powerful days when we were respected like the Biden years. Oh, God. I don't even know what to say about that. That's a good one. The U.S. has lost its respect a long time ago, okay? We haven't won a war since World War II. We've been in enough of them, but we haven't won one since World War II. When do you think the U.S. lost its respect in the world? Like I say, when I traveled the world as a Marine and I'd walk through the streets, and there were some countries I had to be watchful for being kidnapped, whatever the case may be, if I was walking, especially past dark by myself. How long have we lost our respect in the world again there, sir? You better go back a few decades. But if you think Joe Biden caused the world to shake, whatever. We were the laughing stock of the whole world then. Crap in his pants. Whatever. D.O.G.E. memorial crap in his pants. I'm glad he did it around the royal family. They deserve crap like that, but are you kidding me? We haven't had a strong president since, well, I'll say, of course, I was a Marine during Ronald Reagan, his last 3 years, but I'll say Ronald Reagan. How do you handle Gaddafi? Oh, that's right. He wants to send terrorists to bomb our sailors. He'll just sit there and send some A-6s and some other bombers right over and sits there. Instead of bombing the people, he'll just bomb Gaddafi's house. Boom. Gaddafi was on the same page immediately. But see, that solved the problem. And then we got Obama in office, and, since Libya was becoming too prosperous and, the best country to live in North Africa and stuff, they had to end all that. Peace and prosperity. Governments will never have peace and prosperity on this earth because governments just don't want it to happen and aren't going to allow it to happen. There's always going to be some crazy person in charge of a country that's starting issues, starting problems. But anyway, getting back to the subject. Okay, so I'm listening to this Iranian. Libya also had open slavery, and we don't. Go without working, sir. You think the government, oh, we're not slaves, right? We're just a number, how much money we can, the government can make us off us every year. We're just different kinds of slaves. Slavery's never ended, okay? It's just not, it's just, no. That's literally every government in history. Yeah. I mean, nothing lasts forever. We're king. Everybody, we all in this country think we're king of the hill still. We're not, okay? And if countries were king of the hill, what happened to Persia? What happened to Babylon? What happened to Egypt? What happened to Rome? What happened to Portugal? What happened to Spain? France? I know what's going to happen. The U.S. is going to go down in history books just like all them one day. All right? Anyway, they didn't have the ability to end humanity with, but yeah. And remember, like I say, you know what's scary about all that? Is that the kids that we see that are on pharmaceuticals that, need that to act normal, eventually that generation is going to be in charge of that button. Okay? Tell me, that don't scare you a little bit? When you can't control your emotions, you're not emotionally disciplined or mature enough, it's just a bad situation. Okay? Anyway, but hearing this Iranian professor say this, and me, like I say, I saw this back in the late 80s. I tell you what, when you take a small town Minnesota farm boy, and he sees the world like I did in a very short time, whoo, talk about opening up your eyes, because, especially when you're seeing everything for the first time. And you were brought up thinking that the world was, I don't want to say a safer place, but, it was more human, if you want to put it that way. Crazy time. Like I said, I got my eyes open and stuff. But, this Iranian professor was basically saying, hey, the rest of the world sees you. You're not king of the hill no more. The rest of the world don't want you messing with them no more. They don't want you coming into their countries and screwing everything up and putting people in power you want. You don't have a thumb on our country no more. Okay, we'll go to this BRICS nation who wants to do business with us. All right? We'll go to them. They don't want to create war. They want to create prosperity for our country. They don't want to blow us up. Okay? And this is the rest of the world thinking this, right? And still, as Americans, we got to worry about the FBI or local whatever law enforcement doing that to us. Now, when Biden was in office, a lot of conservative right-wing people were, I don't want to say attacked, but given special attention to by law enforcement agencies. Okay? Hey, if everybody, I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers this live stream. If you could hit the like and subscribe, please, and the bell for the notifications, I appreciate it. Go to the my shorts on my channel, share them out. You'll get some entertainment. YouTube is about entertainment too, not always about serious stuff. But I'm trying to sit there and get to get 100 subscribers this live stream. So anyway, see if I can do that. I know YouTube makes it tough on me, I tell you what. But anyway, I have a fun time on here. I like bringing information and giving my opinion out, okay? A lot of people are afraid to talk in this type of forum, whether it be to a phone or a computer or to a group of people. And I hope I'm just bringing out some information and speaking to people that feel the same way I do and say, oh, that's a different way to look at it, or I agree with that, or I disagree with that. Okay? Whatever. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. I mean, I don't even agree with me all the time. You say, well, that's kind of crazy. Well, tell me, do you agree with when I have, long discussions with myself, you might say. But that's a thinker like Newton, how they have him. He was sitting under a tree and apple hit him in the head and stuff while he was just sitting there thinking and stuff. Out there in the peace and quiet, clearing his mind. So, he could bring things together. But anyway, now get to the other part, the danger that we are in this country because other countries don't look at us king on the totem pole anymore, okay? King of the hill anymore. Well, let's just say that the weaker we get, that would be becoming more in debt, stretching us out. What do we have, like 185 military bases all over the world with secret and other bases? We're not going to be able to keep all them. I mean, when the dollar collapses, us having 12 aircraft carriers, or 13 now, however many we have, that's going to stop. You'll be lucky to have one on the East Coast, West Coast, and one on the Gulf of America now, I guess, as it's called. Okay, but they ain't going to be cruising the world. They'll be there in case we get attacked. I mean, what's in store for us, and then other countries are going to see this as weak. Oh. We're in a world hurt. We can't spend our way out of it. That's what the Trump administration wants to do. That's what every administration wants to do. They want to spend their way out of our troubles. And all we do is become a weaker country because of it. We're the world reserve currency that basically isn't worth anything. And why do I know it's not worth anything? Because gold is rated in dollars. So every time gold goes up, the dollar goes down. The dollar gets stronger, gold goes down, okay? That's the simplest way to look at it. The thing is, gold's worth whatever I don't even know what it's worth anymore. I stopped following it because that's just a sign that our economy's in worse shape, and then, our dollar's even worth less and stuff, so yeah, it's pointless. But, it just takes more dollars to throw in your hand for this ounce of gold. I mean, I take this ounce of gold and I trade it for something that I could use for the next 40 years that's going to help me survive and become more prosperous and probably become worth more in value. But the green piece of paper, are you nuts? Not in my time. Anyway, but when the rest of the world, especially the ones that we've really upset, and we're still going after them and creating problems and stuff for them. I mean, like I say, couldn't even beat people in pickup trucks, okay? And now down there with the Houthis, I mean, they're making a mockery of us. How are we going to go against the organized? I mean, just think about it. If we were in a war like Russia and Ukraine are in, where you got a massive front line, massive amount of supplies that are going in, okay, with anything that could spread anywhere else in the world, so you got to spread yourself thin anyway. How long do you think we'd survive in a situation like that? And we want to make it worse than that. The United States is not ready for war. The American people are not ready for war. I mean, I'll say it, we're soft. And, we don't have the manpower or the people power, whatever you want to say, the Rosie the Riveter no more, to supply a war like that, especially on 2 or 3 fronts. People in the world, I think, would rather be taken over by a foreign country. Let them invade. I'd rather have that than go to a factory 8 hours a day and have to make weapons to fight the enemy. I'd rather be taken over by the enemy. On TikTok, I tell you what's on there. And, China, that's just the way China's spying on us. I mean, I'm sure in the China office, as they're watching TikTok, from all over the world, not just from America. There's crazy ones all over the world. They're just laughing their asses off. And they call us, and people get paid for this stuff, okay? It's crazy. The opposite of Father's Day and Labor Day. Juneteenth, the opposite of Father. I tell you what, Juneteenth is stupid. I don't want to get into that subject on here, okay? I'm not going to get into distractions on my channel. I'm not going to get into mental illness on my channel that's encouraged, okay? Everybody has a right to do what in this country. That's your freedom of choice. But you have consequences for those actions, okay? Whether it be medical, okay? But keep it to yourself. I'm not going to go watch some parade with some people that should be charged with indecency and public nudity, ride around on bikes and stuff. I'm from Australia. Trump doesn't seem to realize the threat from China. Hopefully he honors our alliance. See, you're in Australia. See, this is the thing about Americans that everybody in the world has to understand. The average person, and I'm not saying somebody like me who's traveled the world as a Marine and saw how it was, but the average American doesn't go no more than 200 miles from their home their whole life. That's their world. They believe everything they see on TV. That's why I have a hard time in this country, because nobody understands me. Oh, he's just crazy. He's just crazy. Yeah, the threats are real out there. But see, we don't have threats anywhere. If we had China on our northern border, or Russia and China on our northern border, and I don't know, Iran on our southern border, how would the United States act? And how I got taught this, okay, because somebody had to correct me once on this. Okay, everybody like and subscribe. I'm trying to get through this again. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers on tonight's live stream. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell and go to my shorts. Check them out, okay? But I had to be corrected by somebody in Israel once. But I was back there when Israel wasn't hijacked like it is now. I was 87. I turned 20 years old there. But they go, you know why we're different? Because they were ready during 67, that 6 days war. They left in their suits to go to their tanks, because it goes, we're surrounded by enemies, so we have a different mindset. We're always ready to go. Okay, we know the danger on all sides of us at all times. In the United States, you don't have that. And we don't have that. We don't live in that fear. And I'm tired of it, because we're going around and making the rest of the world unsecure for people in Australia. Hey, we're going to mess with China. It makes Australia not safe no more. And they don't seem to care. The average American citizen doesn't understand shit. I'm talking. Has anyone else got pain in their left side when they woke up in the morning, but then it goes away? Not every day. I don't know. You better get checked out. Your left side isn't good. Okay. But start having pain like that, should get checked out. But anyway, the rest of the world's had it with us, okay? You know, all we do is go to a country and turn it upside down. I mean, as the government comes into your life, they turn it upside down. The IRS has to audit you. They turn you upside down. After they take your money from you to see what's left over, to see if they can get any more out of your pocket. Believe me, us Americans are getting it too. But the average American is all they want is their comfort. That's all they want. And they're willing to sacrifice anything and anybody to keep it. I hope the rest of the world knows this. Why do you think I'm a lone wolf? Why do you think I sit out here in the desolate areas and do jobs that no American will do anymore? Because plenty of job security, it isolates me from these Americans that don't give a shit. Sure shot got a misangled ribbon. I can see chiropractor. We know. Anyway, I mean, I'm sorry for the U.S. putting the rest of the world in danger. The average American citizen who goes to work every day and pays his taxes and gets pissed off because he can't get ahead, you get punished in this country for succeeding. Okay, and we don't want that. We want to get along with everybody. I never had a problem going to another country and getting along. I never sat there and acted like I was better because I was from the United States. In fact, we were instructed not to act that way, okay? Dress code and all this stuff. Trump is a great president. You know, I want to see something happen with the Epstein list. I want to see the real criminals in this country brought to justice. You know, the ones that are hurting our kids tremendously, okay? I get to hear on the radio about people that get busted for child porn and that type of stuff. I'm thinking, yeah, a little guy like that gets busted. Not that, you know, he should get busted, but the bigwigs, nothing happens to them. Tell me, smart man, Trump is a great president. You have no idea. Tell me, smart man, what am I supposed to tell you? Sorry, when I get going, I don't follow the chat that much. But yeah, the United States is causing hate and discontent, okay? And anybody, when the United States falls, they're going to take it out on anybody that's connected to the United States. You know, in Australia, they were threatened during World War II by the Japanese. You know, it's not like Australia lives in the most secure part of the world either. Okay? You know, actually, if the U.S. went to recover from Pearl Harbor, yeah, the Japanese probably would have been doing something with Australia. But anyway, I wish we would mind our own business, come back, let the world think, hey, America's not so bad anymore. I mean, the thing is, too, we could be a self-sufficient country. We don't need things from other countries. We can make everything here again, put people to work, kick the illegals out. We got lots of jobs, okay? You know, everybody get back to work, become a successful nation, bring prices down, bring morale up, bring self-esteem up, bring self-respect up, bring intelligence level up, okay? That's what we need to do. Because right now, the rest of the world hates us, okay? Do you realize we go to work every day to support this government so they can go around the world create hate and discontent? So somebody in Australia has got to worry about what's American politicians going to do to screw up my life? And that's not what this country was founded on. Does your brown eye whistle? You know, this is the thing about my channel. You can come in here and make those comments and look like a complete fool. Because anybody who's got half a brain knows you're a complete fool. You want to sit there, come here, and embarrass yourself, that's fine. I'm not going to shut you out. I'm not going to have moderators. When Google gets in here, they do shut people up sometimes, but I'm not going to. In the Marine Corps, I fought for freedom of speech, and you have a right to come on my channel and make a fool of yourself and say comments like that. That's all, more power to you. Okay, and the ones who want to listen to you and get a joke out of it, that's fine. You want to act 5 years old, that's good. This is an adult station, okay? Because I got to press this thing before I go to video. No, this is not meant for kids, but I guess we still have children show up, okay? Whatever. That's the way I feel about it. I'll never shut you up. I should believe everybody's allowed to sit there and act like a fool whenever they want. Even when I want to get on my channel and do it, okay? So go ahead, keep up your comments. I appreciate it. You know, you wonder why the world's so screwed up, because you got people like you trying to cause hate and discontent, think it's funny, and think they're going to get somewhere. But see, being a Marine, there's no insult you can give me or try to rile me a bit, okay? I used to fight for what's more important, and sticks and stones may break your bones, but your fucking puny little words don't hurt me. They only hurt, you know, the only reason you think it hurt me because me telling you the truth, that's what hurts you. And this is why this channel, I'm trying to get 100 subscribers tonight, just on this live stream, because we need the truth out there. These people need to be corrected. That is not proper behavior. Like we were taught when we were growing up. That is not how you act in proper society. Like a child when you're an adult, okay? But we got a lot of the adults these days that couldn't handle child problems, so they were sheltered from their children problems, and then they become adults and they're expected to handle adult problems? Really, how the hell does that work? Because anybody who thinks that the adult world is easier than the child world is still a child. You won't address anything about the truth of the slaughter of 100,000 Christians every single year. What, a slaughter? Okay, so we're going to get on religion here, huh? You really want to get on that subject? How many people have Christians slaughtered? I believe in God and I believe in Jesus, but I follow no banners. How many people have Christians slaughtered in his name because they went and bowed to Jesus? Boy, we should study history, shouldn't we? Are you watching the Battlehawks game? Nope, millions. That's all about the world is. It's about control. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Whether you are a religious power figure, a political power figure, a sports power figure, tell me I'm wrong. Came over to Americas, in South America. How many people were killed over there because the Spanish decided they weren't worthy or... Anyway, should we get into history? What group is more evil than the other group? What group is that? Tell me what group is more evil than the other group. Jesus never taught anyone to kill, so anyone that kills in his name isn't his. Yeah, Jesus also taught that you catch a fish for a day, you feed a man, or feed a man for a day by catching a fish, you feed the rest of his life by teaching the fish. And it says love thy neighbor, but not make sure you take care of your neighbor's complete welfare, well-being, and everything so your neighbor can sit on his ass. And Jesus also stood up for himself, okay? And I guarantee you, if they would have the Second Amendment back then, he'd have carried a gun. Oh, I bet you don't like hearing that, do you? I'm very religious. So don't bring this tin horn shit that you hear in this building where preachers, why I don't go to church anymore? Because it's full of people that go to church for 1 hour a week to confess their sins, and as soon as they walk out of that church, start committing sins like crazy. Okay? Assemble in my name. Anyway. Yeah, would you lay your life down? Would you lay your life down for your neighbor that you hated? Like Jesus did? People that hated him laid his life down for him. Would you do that? Are you worthy of the gift that he gave you? The gift of life? Are you willing to sit there and be worthy of the forgiveness that he gave you? Are you willing to do it? Or is the materialistic world just, see? You know, God's not a forgiving being. And he's still in charge. So you want to live a life, I can't believe I'm talking about religion right now. But if you want to live a life where, you know, you follow the 10 Commandments to the best of your ability. And if you sway from them between Monday through Saturday, well, you know, anyway. It's not just an open door. All I got to do is believe and I'm there. Anyway, everybody hit the like and subscribe. I'm trying to get 100 subscribers tonight on this live stream. Anyway, yeah, I get a little excited about religion because I don't see very many people being religious anymore. I see everybody caught up in the dollar bill. And this is the thing. When Jesus comes to you, do you think he's going to come to you driving a Ferrari with $1 million in his bank account? Or he's going to come to you a humble, poor man who's looking to serve you and get nothing for it? I'm just curious. Because if you're not looking for the latter and you're looking for the first one, well, you're probably going to miss out. Okay. Now let's stop talking about religion because, you know, we're turning into Sodom and Gomorrah anyway. So that's going to be our fate. Bunch of pillars of salt. You know, we have pissed off the world so bad. You know, this country was created to bring the poor, the misunderstood, the free-willed people here. You know, just because Europe didn't have the technology that we do now doesn't mean that Europe wasn't the same socialist hellhole that the colonists first left to come to this country. I mean, imagine coming to a country that, hey, guess what? There's no hotel to stay in when you get here. You're going to have to build your own house. How bad a life you had to live. You know, my kids always sit there, you know, I didn't grow up the best, right? And I went to Marine Corps boot camp just to get out of the house. And kids say, boy, that must have been pretty rough. So, yeah, it was. But yeah, were you willing to sacrifice because what you have is just beyond your ability to cope? Yes, tell us about how America was made. Tribe of Lions. America, remember, North America was the trash heap for Europe at first. And then when the king started, you know, seeing that America's profitable and I can make some money off of it, and that's what it came down to with all the taxes. You know, he figured the colonists should be, well, paying, you know, because of the protection and the French and Indian War, you know, they had expenses because of the Americas, so the Americas should have to pay for some of it, right? Because America became prosperous. You know, and you know, when you become prosperous, just like now. I had good jobs. You get punished for it. You get punished in this world for having a good job. Pay more in taxes. It's just crazy. You got all of a sudden you're on all these charity lists and your phone never stops ringing. You get punished. You get held down because you succeed. And that's what England was doing to us. Holding us back, holding us down. And back then, people weren't going to have no part of it. And see, it started when the rich guy, you know, John Hancock, the richest man in North America at the time, when he started hurting and stuff, you know, and then they went to bat for the little guy, you know, because independence and stuff, people say, was just for capitalists, for the rich guy, for the rich people here to ensure their, you know, the country for them. Well, there's sure been a lot of poor guys in this country that became rich because of the country they created. No tell the from beginning. What beginning's that? Okay, this country's done a lot wrong too. Mainly with the Native Americans. I know slavery was bad, but you know, it's the Africans that sold to Africans that they captured to the white man who was just in the job of making money. And then a lot of people in the Democratic Party from the South bought them to run their plantations. Yeah, Democrats. You know, the ones that didn't want to end slavery, the ones that started the Ku Klux Klan, stuff like that. But the American Indian had it far worse than any slave. You know why? Because a slave was looked at as property. Worth something. Okay? What was an Indian looked at? Like he was nothing, or they were nothing. Men, women, and children, it didn't matter. It was legal to kill an Indian, and nobody did anything about it. Didn't even care. Heck, you probably got congratulated. Kill somebody's slave, and you're going to get sued. Are you calling America the greatest country in the world? I would say at one time, the idea of America was great. And the idea of America and everybody be able to come here and fulfill their dreams and pursue their happiness, you know, whatever you want to be, made this country so great because people were allowed to, you know, follow their dreams, express their ideas, come up with new ideas. And we became the mightiest and being with the drive Americans had, okay? I mean, can you imagine getting in a covered wagon in St. Louis and coming across the prairie to California and Oregon and Washington for a better life? What other country did that? That's the American spirit. Okay? And yeah, people got hurt because of it. We took out the Indian Manifest Destiny and stuff, which was a bad thing. Anyway, I'm trying to hit 100. Go back to this. Trying to hit 100 subscribers on this live stream. If you would hit the like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get all my videos. I appreciate it. Go to my channel and share my shorts. Okay? But anyway, what other country had that? That's the American drive. Okay? What drives me every day. But the thing is, I don't think I should have to step on anybody or ruin somebody's life or way of life to achieve my goals. Jesus is going to strengthen it all. Peter doesn't understand the difference. I'm sorry, I'm not following. But it's been hijacked, okay? But we don't have that spirit no more. But that's what made America great. That's what made it so successful. That's what made it so prosperous. And then the government looking at all this money being made, oh, we need a piece of that action. I mean, look at what we've done to our country, how we've destroyed it. In just, 250 years we've been a country, 249 years since the Declaration of Independence? I mean, do you realize how much we progressed just from the end of the First World War? How much this country has grown? I mean, the success of financial success and just the intelligence success that this country's come up with. Making people smarter, making society better. doing great things for mankind. Heck, we put a man on the moon, for crying out loud. You know, that's what America used to be, and we put our mind to something, we did it. We solved whatever problem it took to get to that. Nowadays, nah. Whatever makes my life easier. Oh, I got to give up this freedom? Okay, we'll seduce you with a new iPad or something, right? The newest shiny object. I just don't know what happened to America. You know, it's just like I'm 57 years old, going to be 58 this year. And the way that we were learned to be hardworking, ambitious, if you want to be something in life, you got to do it. Life isn't fair. It's as fair as you make it. You know, all those saying, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Nobody cared. After the election day, who you voted for? There weren't riots in the street. You can play fortune, and Fort Nile is for 10 years. Anyway, I can't keep up with the chat. I need to put on slow chat. I never had this type of flow before. Anyway, but to get back, I get distracted from the live chat. But anyway, things aren't going to go good. Okay. You know, and just when America becomes a third world country, I know the America is not ready for that at all. At all. It's going to be crazy. I mean, if you want all the big cities to look like Detroit, that'll be a third world country. And then you take away Health and Human Services Department, that's even worse. But the world of hurt we got coming at us, I just don't understand. So I don't understand. I remember when things were easier, okay? I mean, back when all we had to do was worry about Monica Lewinsky to keep us all preoccupied. The big talk was that. And now the stuff that's going on now. Boy, talk about up the dosage on society, huh? But anyway, Trump 2028. That's just him trolling the other side because he can't run for a third presidency. You know why people say Trump 2028? You know who his running mate will be then? Any guesses? Any guesses who Trump's running mate would be if Trump runs in 2020? I can tell you exactly who his running mate's going to be. Anybody? Anybody? Well, I guess I'll tell you. Since Trump can run for a third term, I guess we'll just have Obama run for a third term. Okay? Yeah, that would be a good election. Then we get stuck with Obama again, since the Democrats really know how to win elections, especially when Republicans are in charge. And then we'll just have Obama until he dies. There's a reason we're in a constitutional republic, because laws are followed, okay? The Democrats wanted term limits on the president after 4 years of FDR. So if the Democrats wanted term limits after 4 years of a Democratic president and then Truman, I think term limits for the president's probably a good idea. Okay? I really do. Well, see, if we get back to a constitutional republic, the country that we're supposed to have created instead of this democracy that the Democrats want their democracy and the Republicans want their democracy, and it's like, okay, if we're a democracy, aren't we supposed to be one type of democracy? Anyway, appreciate everybody being here tonight. Hit that like and subscribe and the notification bell if you would, please. And check out my channel and share my shorts. Trying to get 100 subscribers on this live stream. So trying to sit there and Trump 2064. I tell you what, I am J.D. Vance all the way in 2028. Just for one main fact. He started out his adult world just like I did. Well, I don't know if he started as soon as I did. I did 3 days after I graduated high school. I was in those little yellow footprints at Marine Corps boot camp, just like he was. Okay? And he got out of the Marine Corps in NCO. Oh, so many parallels, okay? I just can imagine J.D. Vance shooting skeet in the backyard of the White House. Anyway, and then his wife showing him up when she shoots skeet. All right? So I'm a J.D. Vance person. And the thing is, we need young blood. Okay? J.D. Vance will energize the young voters, both Democrats and Republicans. He's well liked. I mean, he's got just a good resume. He's got a good family life. He checks all the boxes that a Democrat would check when it comes to how they should look at the world, right? But yeah, I'm a J.D. Vance fan. That's who I want. So anyway, Trump 2028, that's just a troll. And like I say, if you seriously believe that, then he'll be running against Obama in 2028. And then let's just say things could get really goofy. None of us want to go to war. Yeah, well, this is the thing. I made a short about this. When your government wants to go to war, they create a false flag. When the people want war, the government just needs an excuse. But, we can say, yeah, we're not sending guys to war. We're not sending our troops, but we sure are spending a lot of money on war, aren't we? Send a lot of money to countries that are at war to support their war. So you make sure you go work your ass off so you can sit there and give the government money so they can sit there and spend it on bullets or whatever, or I don't know, to give to Ukraine for their politicians to retire on. But we're not at war. Exactly explain that to me. It's because our guys ain't dying. But we're paying for it. Killing America. But don't worry, we're not at war. So, just shows us we're weak too. We're willing to sit there and give our money to these other countries to fight our enemies. So they'll send their young men and their young women to war, to fight a war for us, to defeat our enemy. We're doing this with Ukraine to weaken Russia. So we don't have to do it. They're doing the dirty work. And then we'll go in and clean up the mess, right? Just like our government, when they get us at each other's throats so much that we're fighting each other, then they'll just sit there and take over and clean up the mess after we destroyed each other. Everybody see the game that's being played? And then the rest of the world sees it. We live in this bubble like we're still king of the hill, but the rest of the world sees that we're not. The rest of the world is mocking us. Okay? Is the Fortnite, this is a sick game. I don't know, is that a PlayStation game or something? I got too many other things to do besides play video games. Tell me about 9/11. Oh. I would say that, I believe that Roosevelt knew about Pearl Harbor. I firmly believe that for many reasons. I do believe that we had intelligence about 9/11. With Clinton in office and Bush in office. So that implicates two presidents. See, this is what I'm saying. It don't matter the R or the D. They're all on the same fucking page. And they allowed it to happen. Not that they helped out, but they didn't stop it from happening. Kind of like the government allows criminals like to burn, loot, and murder and cause $4 billion in damage as they burn down cities, right? They allowed it to happen to get their control. So they could sit there and pass legislation for control. So that's my deal on 9/11. They allowed it to happen. The rest of it, the terrorists just took advantage of being allowed to break the law. Imagine that. Same thing we're seeing today. In California, as long as you don't shoplift over $1,000, they're not going to call the cops on you. That's like 3 carts out of Walmart. Maybe not California. Maybe in California it's only 2 cars. But that's ridiculous. Now that's why 9/11 happened. And 9/11 also happened because in 1993 and 94, or 1994 and 95, when the Democrats cut the service by so much, when I was caught in the force reductions and they didn't need us on the ground no more doing our jobs, and the terrorist cells were allowed to blossom, you might say, become more sophisticated, more powerful, and be able to do more stuff, and we didn't do anything. It's a whole long story. Okay? Whole long story. 9/11 just didn't happen on September 9/11. It happened through at least planning through 2 presidencies, or when 2 presidents were in office, and neither one of them did shit. Remember George Bush and the weapons of mass destruction? How many people died from that? Iraqis, Americans. Oh, leader of a country, whether you liked him or not. And none of these people that called for that, president, nobody held accountable for lies, lies, lies. So that's my deal on 9/11. Okay. I got up in the morning, made my coffee, turned on the TV right after the first plane had hit the Twin Towers. And I was watching TV and drinking my coffee and watched the second one hit the Twin Towers on live TV. But see, I knew the terrorists were going to get us. I was telling people when I first got out of the Marine Corps in 94, they're going to get us. So it did surprise me. And everybody's like, well, we need to go to war. I said, how do you go to war with an idea? And that thing I said, told you I was right. But that's what our sick people that run our government will do for control. They'll kill Americans and other people from other nations to do it. And they don't care. If enough people buy the narrative. Anyway, I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers on this live stream. If you'd hit the like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Hit the bell, the notification, and share my shorts if you would. Turning the best we have, right? Trump is the best we have so far, but he's not a George Washington. He was definitely the better evil than we had. But why does he allow people to fight him and get him flustered and stuff? Be the president, you realize you're going to piss off at least half the world every day, accept it, and get your job done. The American people on election day gave you the authority to do what you campaigned on. Okay? Nobody else gave them the authority. The American people did. Okay? So you need to exercise that authority and not piss us off. Who cares if you piss off a politician? We want the truth to come out. But the Epstein list, like I say, if they release that, you know how many governments that's going to decapitate? How many countries' elites that's going to decapitate? How many big business owners that's going to decapitate? It's going to create a power vacuum within government, within countries, within businesses, but it's got to happen. I mean, Germany survived World War II and the Nuremberg trials. The world will survive this and be taught a lesson, whether how long the lesson lasts for 100 years, 50 years, or whatever. But they'll learn a lesson. A couple generations will learn a lesson. This, all I know is us Americans, taxpayers who go out and work every day, are paying for this shit, paying for this corruption, and when are we going to realize I'm done paying for this? I'm going to put an end to this. I mean, this taxing us, making our money and spending our money is utterly ridiculous, okay? Coming and going. Trump, I'm going to get rid of the IRS. Still there. FBI, still there. ATF, still there. Department of Education, still there. You want to start cutting the deficit? The trillions of dollars of debt we have? Downsize government to what it was supposed to be when the Constitution was created, and all that extra money you ain't spending on the government no more, put that towards the deficit, and then come in and balance the budget. Dude, you have no clue what you're talking about. Well, that's good. Then I'm senseless. What are you doing here then? Bye-bye, okay? If I don't know what I'm talking about, then I guess I should be in a loony bins, huh? I don't actually see this on TikTok, mental illness on display, or YouTube or social media, right? I don't actually see kids that can't even read or write or do simple math when they graduate high school, right? I don't actually see that. I don't see crime going up. I don't see illegal aliens killing people in this country. I don't see our government just flat out ripping us off and then going out and spending money on wars in other countries to fight our enemies while other countries do our dirty work. No, I don't see that. I don't see other people struggling. I don't see the richest country. I heard something today that New York is rated the best large city in the world because of its economics and all this shit. Really? So they didn't look at the homeless problem or the ghettos or nothing like that, right? See, it's all a crock of shit. But if I'm supposed to be blind to that and think that this nation, this country, is on the right path, dude, what do they do? Do the bombs need to fall on your house before you wake the fuck up? This is the thing. A lot of these people in this country just don't want to accept that's going to happen. Like I said, I wasn't shocked when 9/11 happened. I wasn't shocked. But the rest of there's few people that weren't shocked. But the rest of the country, oh my God, really? Because they lived in a fantasy world. This is why I don't have a hard time talking with the average American citizen, because they've never been more than 200 miles away from home. If they have traveled the world, they've only seen the good parts of that country. As a Marine, when you're floating on a ship and stuff, waiting for the call to come, you don't get to see the good parts of the world or good parts of that country. But if you want to live in your naive world, that's where I was up until I was about 19 and a half when I started traveling the world in the service. Then this little small town boy's eyes were wide open. How the world works. How our money pushes other countries around. How the U.S. is just flat out, our politicians can be evil. I never thought the Marine Corps, what we did, was evil. I thought politicians were evil. They had no idea what we were going through and asking us to do terrible things. I've seen the best and worst, and you can't follow the flow of content in a conversation. You don't know how to think in layers. If you want to insult, go somewhere else. I mean, this is the thing, the negativity in people these days, especially on YouTube and social media platforms, because they're just miserable with their lives. And they want everybody to feel like them. And they've been insulted. Insult hurts them so much that that's the only thing that they think hurts people. And they're willing to. And the thing is, if you're around them and their insults don't get, then they start getting physical. And then they get their asses handed to them and they go, what did I do? What did I do? Anyway, like I say, everybody's welcome on this channel. You're welcome to have your opinion, sir. If you don't like listening to me, you don't have to be here. You probably don't like my shorts, I have to say, either. I don't know what to tell you. I never went to school for public speaking and stuff like that. If you don't like what I consider facts, whatever. I just find it in today's world when people are woken up, and this is the thing in this country, people are getting woke up in stages. When it's actually affecting you in your home, and it seems like paying taxes and going to the grocery store, paying high prices for stuff, being forced to take, or else you're just going to die, you're that brain dead, okay, then I don't know what to say. But the average American isn't like that. And you can come to this channel and be however you want. You're welcome to say what you want. Freedom of speech in this country. And, that's one thing we get too much on censorship. I don't care if what you have to say. Okay? I'm not here to agree with you. If you want somebody to agree with you, you go start a channel up, make some content, and then you can agree with yourself. Okay? And then you can get live streams like this where you got people that don't understand your point of view, you might say. It might get a little derogatory and upset with you because they don't agree with you, okay? So, anyway, difference of opinion is good. That's why you have a debate. And when you have a debate, a conclusion's coming to that both sides can agree to, that makes sense, but you're allowed to get your ideas out. After 4 years of Biden, I'm not sure why anyone should be upset that Trump is president. No. I'm not upset. But he needs to, I want to see somebody on the Epstein list doing this walk of shame. I want to find out what happened to Paul Pelosi with a hammer at 2 in the morning with a painting job that's going on with some doing naked or in their underwear with a male prostitute. I want the truth to come out. That a crime was committed. Well, we're not going to investigate it, so no crime was committed. I want this to become a land of laws again, not a land of men. And I want us to stop spending money we don't have. Why did Elon Musk leave? Because he realized that if you save the government $1 trillion, they're going to spend $2 trillion. And all the evidence he got for fraud, nothing ever happened for it because of it. It's like, why am I doing this for nothing when, doing this for the American people and their politicians don't even care. All they care about is stealing from them. And this is the thing. He saw the theft from government, from the American people. Them flat out stealing from us. And he tried to do something about it. And I'm not saying he got shut up, but he got shut out. Okay? That's what happens when you stand up for the American taxpayer. The average American taxpayer. You get treated like the average American taxpayer. What is USD currency? Does it have value? No, it doesn't. The US dollar is not worth the paper it's printed on anymore. For one thing, okay, when you have more money supply than worth, if you sold everything in the country and you still couldn't get all your money supply, but it's just too much money, it's worthless. I mean, prices are going up ridiculous. Oh, gas is going down a little bit. $3 a gallon is down a little bit. You know, I remember back in the late 90s when they started playing these games with gas. And it started going up from, what was it, $1.20 back then, and they'd raise it to $1.40, and then raise it down to $1.22, and then raise it up to $1.65, and then raise it to $1.25, and they kept back and forth, kept back, and all I said back then is just trying to create a new base for gasoline, a base that they're going to find that everybody can pay, and that's what they were doing. I mean, I remember going through Montana, get this, took a vacation to Montana. In every gas station in Montana, gas was the same price. Every single gas station. $1.67, I remember that. And that was back in, I think, 1999 or 2000. Bro, who is this guy? I'm just some crazy-ass guy who's on YouTube that trying to upset people, I guess. People think I'm nuts. That's okay. As a jarhead, Jay, I am a little nuts. But, you know, everybody's got to have a little crazy. But I'm here to entertain people on YouTube. That's what I'm trying to do. But if you're here, I'd like you to hit the like and subscribe. Hit the notification. I'm trying to get to 100 people on 100 subscribers from this live stream. And I appreciate you being here and listening to me. I'm trying to open up communication. I'm sick and tired of politicians and creating hate and discontent. I'm tired of our money being spent ridiculously, especially on war and stuff, and going in debt. Nobody can run their household like our government runs our finances. Our government's us, so they're running our finances into the ground. That's just flat out what they're doing. You know, and Elon Musk found that out. Holy cow, I'm on here for an hour and a half almost. Anyway, I don't hate you, brother. I love you. Just ask you to think a little deeper. Sometimes I don't like going down too many rabbit holes. You can tendency to sit there and get completely trained on one. No, I have deep thought, but you know, things are just so, everything's on the surface now. I mean, it's not like they're lying about what they're doing. It's not like they're hiding it from us. You know, with the way social media is here and stuff, you know, if the wrong person that people have their eye on, you know, does the wrong move, everybody knows about it. But the thing is, nowadays, we don't do anything about it. And that's what I don't understand. I mean, I'm supposed to make sure I wear my seatbelt. I obey the speed limit. I don't steal. I mean, I treat people with respect. I try to be a good American. Then we got flat out criminals out there that are just doing some nasty stuff. And they're getting away with it, okay? But anyway, but you make sure you obey the law. You make sure you follow everything. Make sure you go to work. Make sure you pay your taxes. Make sure you're a good American citizen, tax-paying American citizen that's making this country go forward. But the thing is now the American worker, we're not making this country more successful anymore. We're making other countries more successful now. The ones that we don't go in there, our government goes in and destroys it. But anyway, it's going to get crazy. You know, like I say, we're not king of the hill no more. No matter what our propaganda tells us, no matter what we think, this ain't the America where we're king of the hill anymore. There's a few other guys on top of that hill. You know, let's say there's 3 people on top of that hill, us, Russia, and China. Well, in a democracy, right? 2 outrule number 1. All of a sudden, we become the sheep. They're looking at the 2 wolves. Anyway, just be ready for that tumble down the hill like Jack and Jill took. Because, you know, people complain about how it's affecting them now. Okay, it's going to get a lot worse. Anyway, I got to go. I just got a battery alarm. Anyway, I've been on for a while. I'll be back tomorrow night again. I appreciate everybody being here. Like I say, hit that like and subscribe. Help the channel grow. Hit that bell icon. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. And we'll see what subject's going to be about. Anyway, everybody have a great Friday night. This is Tom. I'm out.